5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off. Welcome to the 69th episode. Can't believe it's already been 69 podcasts. Sorry, the 69th episode of the Korea podcast. What the heck did I say?
5, 4, 3,
The one and only podcast live on YouTube that always makes the mistake of not turning itself off. Thank you very much. The one and only podcast here in South Korea, live on YouTube. It's always here. It's the podcast that has everything. It's got life, it's got situations, we've got interviews, we've got stories, and of course, we've got interruptions of all sorts and noises that are happening as my computer is still firing up because I was having some problems earlier on for some strange reason, and still continues, I think. I am hoping that there should be some music coming through, but I'm not sure if it is. Things on the menu today. Things are on the menu for today. There are a few things. Today is we've got the 22nd of June, which is nearing its end, the month of June. I hope everyone had a good weekend. Mine was so. I hope everybody else is having a good one. And the week has begun, and you know, things are on the move. Today we'll be talking about beaches, beaches, and immigration and customs. Coronavirus is on the menu once again, just slightly. But before we get there, I mean, it's an ongoing topic anyway. But particularly today, not particularly, just today, it's going to be on the menu as well, as usual, I guess, because it's an ongoing topic. It just doesn't seem to end here in South Korea, right? No, it doesn't. A while ago, actually a few years back, I managed to get out to a private beach in Thailand. My wife and I and our kids oftentimes visit Thailand whenever we get the chance to. And we usually go to a little island called Koh Phangan. Many of you may be familiar with it. Another one that we visit is, which is the bigger island near Koh Phangan. Koh Phangan is a smaller island that's located on the east southern shores, or actually, somewhere halfway through the Thai peninsula on the east shore. And there is a cluster of 3 islands. There's Koh Samui, which is one of the largest islands and the most visited out of all the other islands in Thailand. Then there is Koh Phangan and Koh Tao. Koh Tao has always been the diving paradise. People have been flocking to Koh Tao for years because Koh Tao is a beautiful place. It's got a lot of diving, coral and all that jazz. So it's one of the best places in the world, from what I understand, to go diving. Koh Phangan, on the other hand, or Koh Samui, on the other hand, has been the kind of pricey and extravagant place where lots of honeymooning has been done. Lots of honeymooners go, and it's quite pricey when it comes to like touristy visitations and payments and stuff like that. And Koh Phangan, on the other hand, has been for years a backpacker's paradise. For the longest time, Koh Phangan has been kind of, the armpit of whatever. It was only visited by the young, by the adventurous. It's also the place on which the beach with Leonardo DiCaprio, that's what it was based on. And somewhere around that vicinity there. And so that's where we usually go visit. And I had a point into this. What was my point? Please refresh my memory. Man, oh man.
DiCaprio, that's what it was based on.
Why was I talking about the islands? Jeez Louise. I don't know. I have no idea. Oh, beaches, okay. The private beaches. I've got stuff written down. I should look at my notes every now and then, eh? And so on the island of Koh Samui, on Koh Phangan, you can't really find private beaches. I mean, all the beaches are privately owned to some extent, or some are, right? Because most of the resorts are built on the beaches, and so the beaches are privately owned. But on the island of Koh Samui, we actually stumbled upon a beach that was warded off. Like, you couldn't even get onto it. And it was labeled as a private beach. And lo and behold, Korea has finally managed to privatize something. Korea has finally managed to privatize something. For years, the government here has been talking about wanting to privatize the, what you may call it, the hospitals, the Medicare, medical treatment facilities, medical care. Unsuccessfully. There was talk of it. Nothing ever happened for the better, and I hope it doesn't, because that would suck. Having privatized medical system, you know. But they seem to have finally managed to privatize beaches in South Korea. Ain't that a hoot? I mean, let me tell you, this is whack. So, just yesterday, the Korea Herald released an article I saw. Going to the beach, you will need reservations to this summer. Yeah, apparently, how do I close this sucker? North Korean paper warns of lightning strike. Oh Jesus, okay, I don't know. Apparently, you may need to get some reservations if you want to visit beaches in South Korea. Thank you, Corona, for this. And I know there will be some puppets out there going, yeah, it's for the best and it's all that and the government and this people and this, that, whatever. Yeah, it kind of, I don't know, it's weird, but beaches are being privatized, more or less. Well, I don't know. I mean, public property, are they private property? I guess they're public property, right? But you need to get your reservations. I have no idea how that's going to work, how it's going to be balanced out. It opens a whole can of questions. In the past, I remember Hyundai, well, before I get to that, let me just make a note of that. Okay. So this reservation scheme, it listed, let's have a look at this article here. Those who plan to spend time at the beach this summer will have one more thing to check whether reservations are necessary. They're saying it, so the chances are this may come to fruition, this whole beach reservation scheme. The Ministry of Oceans and Fisheries said Thursday it is introducing a reservation system for the nation's beaches in order to prevent the spread of COVID-19. 16 popular beaches will now require reservations. They are Haeundae, Gwangalli, Songdo, Dadepo, and Songjong in Busan. To be honest, the only ones that I ever have visited were Haeundae, Songjong, and Gwangalli. Songdo and Dadepo I am absolutely not familiar with, so it doesn't really rub me in any way. And then in Gyeongpo, Naksan, Sokcho, Samcheok, Mangsang, Mongbang, Chuam, and Hajode in Gwangang province, and Ilsan, Enjina, and Ulsan, and Gorebol in North Gyeongsang province. Ilsan is the beach that's located in Bangojin in the HHI, the Hyundai heavy industry area. A lot of engineers and some expats there as well. And Jina is a beach that's located on the way to Busan. So from my understanding, both Ilsan and Jina, as well as Haeundae, Gwangali, and Songjung Beach are sandy beaches. So I assume that most of the other ones are sandy beaches as well, and those are the ones that are most likely being visited by people because, it's a sandy beach. Just yesterday, I hope everyone got a chance to see the eclipse. If you haven't, there is a live video that I held up. I held a live podcast on the channel here yesterday during the solar eclipse. If you weren't there, then you should check it out. It was pretty cool. Anyway, it was like an hour and 20-minute long podcast, over 420 views right now. Awesome, very nice to see. Six new subscribers, so welcome to all the new subscribers who are here, who are watching or maybe watching after the podcast. Welcome to the channel. And I'll get to, in a second, to why the podcast is taking place on this channel again. Wishy-washy. What the heck are you doing, Jack? Eh? Make up your damn mind, boy! Left or right? Up or down? Nobody knows. Okay. So the beaches that are being put under the possibility of having to make reservations are the sandy beaches. The beach that we visited yesterday on Sunday is a gravel beach, or a stone beach rather, which is not necessarily the most popular, although I did see a nice big clump of expats enjoying the Korean lifestyle on the beach that we were on yesterday, which was the stone beach, and that was very cool. However, going on with the article, visitors to Jeju Island or South Chungcheong Province don't have to worry about making a reservation, as the system is being run on a voluntary basis, and the governments of those two areas decide to take other measures to prevent the spread of the coronavirus. I wonder what it is. Since it's based on the province, voluntary basis, I guess each province will decide on how to manage the whole reservation situation. And I would also assume that I wonder if there are any, if it's necessary to make a reservation for payments. I have no idea. Possibly. Just another good source of revenue. It seems like the Korean government is doing a lot of that lately. The beaches, if the destination is not one of the 16 and not located in Jeju or South Chungcheong province, a person can check if reservations are necessary on www.ciantour.kr, a service provided by the KT Corporation. Let me just copy and paste that into the chat box. Copy, paste. Pew. Have a look. If you're in the chat, only 3 people. I think that's all my cameras. Fantastic. Nobody's watching. Woohoo! Not unheard of. But if you are now or after the stream is finished, check it out. Here's the link to get your very own reservations for your beach location. And now, why are we back here on the Live in Korea channel? Just to, I guess, explain, I created a separate stream or a separate channel for the Korea podcast because I thought that separating the content that I produce on the Korea podcast from the regular content that I produce, the regular Live in Korea videos, would be a good thing, because clearly those may be 2 different audiences. But I realized that I don't actually create as much content as I should be maybe on the Live in Korea channel to warrant such fast separation. So I think I will, the Korea podcast channel is there, and it will be there. But for the time being, I will keep the podcast here on the Live in Korea channel, and I believe I am able to download them and then upload them to the Korea podcast as well. So when the right time comes, all the podcasts will then be presented on the Korea podcast in the future. But for now, I think we'll keep it the way it is, which is as it is. What else does this article say? Because of overseas travel bans, the nation's beaches are expected to be busy this year. We are hoping this measure can help people enjoy the beaches while staying healthy, a ministry official said during a press conference Thursday. Separately, visitors at the nation's 270 beaches will be asked to have their temperatures checked and personal information collected in case of possible infections, and to effectively tracking their whereabouts. The Korea Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, KCDC, said Korea reported 50 new infections Wednesday, pushing the country's total to 12,198. There have been 280 deaths among the 59. So one of the other articles that I've dug up on BBC apparently is listing Korea as going through a new wave of second wave of the coronavirus. That's BBC. Oh, where are we here? Must be open here. Hopefully there is. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Yeah, coronavirus. South Korea confirms a second wave of infections. I haven't really checked what the number of infections have been reported. I don't really check them anymore. Health officials in South Korea believe the country is going through a second wave of coronavirus. Despite recording relatively low numbers, the country had been a success story in dealing with COVID-19, but now expects the pandemic to continue for months. So here we go, a bit of a fear-mongering in place. People are going to we may see the coronavirus to be in place for, I don't know, who knows, foreseeable future. Who knows? Get ready, people, because this may drag on for years. This will drag on for years, because I mean, Corona is not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. It's gonna stay here for a while. Do you realize I'm trying to play some tunes, but I don't think it's working. I've booked myself into. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear, because I can't hear it on the stream on my phone. It's not going anywhere. It's gonna stay here for a while. Do you realize I'm trying to play some tunes? Nope, I can hear it, but I guess you can't. So that's what's happening with. With the situation of the coronavirus here in South Korea. It's not a happy one. I don't know. Should we be scared? Maybe not. Maybe not. Was that it? That's all I had on the menu? Oh, okay. Personal story. Right. So, on the topic of the coronavirus, because it is one that we want to talk about. So, here's your conspiratorial take on things. And I had a discussion about this, or not a discussion, but an exchange about this on Facebook with a person. And so this story is related to imports and to exports or other imports into South Korea. And basically, what do you call these fellas? Not immigration, but customs. The customs department. Around February or January, no, prior to that, around December, late December or mid-December, I placed a couple of orders for small goods like clothing from China. And this is a source that I've been using for the past 3 years. I've been ordering stuff through them for our Hagwon and for personal usage. And granted, depending on the size of the order, if the order is smaller, then the shipping company tends to just package it up and throw it onto a giant ship somewhere, giant vessel that travels across the ocean for a very long time. If it's a larger package, if you pay a little bit more, then I guess they're able to skim off the top and pay for the shipping costs, which means that the package arrives in Korea a little bit faster. I placed the orders sometime in December, and I was expecting them to arrive here mid-January. That didn't happen. It was strange at that time because, like I said, most orders would take up to 6 weeks maximum, and every single one that I've ever placed arrived, with some exceptions that had limitations on the things that could be imported into South Korea, and it usually relates to electronics or things like batteries of some sorts. And so it was very odd for me to see that there was a blockage. The packages were not arriving, and I was told that I needed to supply some additional information and this and that, and it just felt very odd. So I posted a question on Facebook asking people, if this was normal, that customs were holding back my packages, because, like I said, usually there was never such a long delay in sending these things. So that was very unusual. And I was told, no, that's pretty normal. This is how customs work, and this is to be expected. And right now, in retrospect, back then I kind of took it as, okay, I guess this person knows what they're talking about. Right now I call balls on that one, because both of these packages arrived. They arrived here after months of being held in customs. They got here sometime about a month ago, I think, right after the whole corona situation started to wean off. And there were fewer cases were dropping. Korea was beginning to get a grasp on the situation, and the packages arrived without any other questions. I received the message on my phone, and while the previous messages were asking me to submit more information on whatever, they were asking for like passports and this and that, and then all of a sudden I just received a message to send some info, which I did for like, I don't know, 10th time already, same information, and the packages arrived without any problems. And I've ordered some other items from the same source since, and the items are arriving without any problems, without any hang-ups, no delays, other than the regular, shipping from China. So something's up, okay? Immigration and Customs were holding packages as early as December, November. This thing was not being talked about in the general media. It certainly wasn't talked about here until late February, but the officials, the custom people must have known what was happening, because holding up of packages was very unusual during that time. Certainly not for as long as they have. So that's my take on it. Don't trust the stuff you hear, because it's always questionable. People. That's it. Welcome to the beaches. Oh, yes, I forgot. We went from the beaches to customs, and I completely skipped immigrations. Immigrations, people, the crazy things that are happening here in Korea. So we're having the re-entry permits. We're able to go online and place an order for the re-entry permits online. I don't know how they'll be delivered. I guess we probably would have to go in person to the immigration's office and just get the stamp or whatever, pay the fee and pick it up, as it may be. But I guess things are being made a little bit somewhat easier by having them available to people online. So that's a good thing, I guess. And but yeah, with all that stuff going on, it seems like the majority of people will be staying here. I certainly won't be traveling abroad in August because it's just too much of a hustle. And so expect Korea to be super duper busy, and expect Korea to be, yeah, I'd say get a bicycle, get a scooter, get something. Don't get in the car. Or leave early, like right before August, man, because it's going to be mayhem. It's going to be insane. People are already out and about. There is no restrictions in terms of, social distancing. Like on Sunday, we were at the beach, and there were tons of people. Nobody was holding back. It wasn't like, people were not there. Tent cities were in full bloom, just as they are around this time of every year, and so people are still wearing masks, but things are happening. So come August, expect things to be back to normal. I think people are going to be out and about. I don't know how long this is going to last in terms of the travel bans, right? People are not going to be traveling, and I think once the airline industries feel the pain of losing millions and millions of dollars in revenue, I think there's going to be pressure coming in from those companies towards the government officials, and they're going to want changes. Things are going to be demanded. Open up the gates, floodgates. We need people to fly in and out, man, because they're going to be losing lots of revenue. I think that's going to be happening. Anyway, yeah. So that's what I think is going to happen. But in the meantime, in the meantime, that's really it for this week's update. What else is there to say? Thanks for watching, for tuning in, to those who have tuned in. Make sure, if you're new here for the first time, make sure to hit the subscribe button and like the video. Remember, this is the only live podcast from South Korea where you can interact. We've got guests here. I believe, hopefully, I'm going to have a pretty interesting guest coming up sometime soon, maybe even next week if things go right. Set up the connections today, hopefully, and get the conversation flowing. And I'm not telling the name just yet because I don't know if it's going to happen, if it will come to fruition. It may. A published author should be coming on here. Another one. We've had one. Chris Thorpe was here with several publications. That was great to talk to him. And so another person with some published works should be here, hopefully maybe next week. If not, then within the next couple of weeks, maybe. Having published books on South Korea and South Korea. So that should be a very interesting chat, hopefully, happening. Nobody here in the chat section tonight. Well, quiet evening, I guess, after last week's. The video that took place on the Korea podcast last week was a very good one, a very good chat with Matthew. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to download the video, I think because the Korea podcast channel is a very new channel and YouTube wouldn't allow me to download that video from that channel so I could upload it to this channel. So it just goes to show, like, stop messing around, man, because things are being all twisted about. In any case, 5 people online. Yo, what up? Give me a holler if you've got any questions. If not, 30 minutes podcast today. I think I'm gonna call it an early evening because the 3 pieces of information that I posted that I want to talk about, I did. We addressed those, and that shall be it. Give it a minute here. See if people have any questions. If you do have any questions, post them here. If not, forever hold your peace. Yeah, I've been trying to play some music in the background, but it hasn't come through very well. All right. There's some tunes in the background. Fantastic. Okay, well, for next time, the next podcast will be all musical-like. There will be tunes, there will be entertainment. Of course, if there's conversation, then possibly not, probably not. But okay, thanks all for tuning in. The 3 people that were here just ist right the hell off after me sitting here and looking at stuff. So, okay, thanks all for tuning in. If you're here for the first time, if you enjoyed the podcast, make sure to, to like, subscribe to the channel. And if not, then hope you had a good sit-in and hopefully you have a wonderful week. And we'll see you next week on the only live podcast from Korea right here on the Live in Korea channel. Good night.